Contrary to what a lot of propagandists are telling you, the real estate market and the economic situation in China is looking pretty dire.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to go to full collapse and devastation yet, but we're talking about
exactly
we're talking about
economic collapse and devastation.
We're talking about a downturn and a rumble.
Yeah.
Not a full collapse. It's definitely a heavy rumble.
Well, I mean, look, it's actually quite terrible because, I'm going to put this on in the background quickly and I'll show you. But right now in China, and I think you can agree with me, there's very little in the way of options of putting any money into anything.
We were chatting about this earlier.
Right?
We were like picking each other's brains. Like, what do you do? Well, traditionally you buy property because that's the safest bet. The yuan, the RMB, the China's currency is worth nothing. Like on an international scale, it's not backed by anything.
Yeah.
And so people don't want to use it to trade. In fact,
no, of course.
89% of the world does Forex, foreign exchange in US dollars still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
De-dollarization. It's not happening.
It's more like re-dollarization.
Re-dollarization. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. And also think about this. You can't buy crypto legally in China.
It's not legal.
You
can invest in gold, but it's kind of iffy in China. There's all sorts of weird stumbling blocks and fake gold.
Fake gold. You can watch my video from a couple of videos ago.
Yeah.
But also, it's not only that. It's like, what do you buy? They put caps on how many US dollars you can buy too.
Yeah.
So there's really no option for people. So they're losing their minds. And now that the property bubble, which makes the US property bubble in 2008 look this big, China's is this big.
It's insane.
And now that there are holes cropping up in this bubble and the air is leaking out, this is a microcosm of what's happening.
Yeah. So to set up the stage for what you're seeing here, people bought properties as they do in China. Usually people will actually buy a property even before it's built, right? Because it's an investment, which is a fail-safe investment that's going to, only increase in value. But unfortunately, that's changing. People aren't buying properties like they used to in the past. They are not just randomly buying a property just because.
Well, because the housing market's collapsing.
And people don't have the money. And a lot of cutbacks, people losing their jobs, or they're getting a lower wage. So these property developers are having trouble selling these properties now.
Yeah.
Whereas before, they would be sold out before they even broke ground.
Yes.
So now what happened was a bunch of people have already bought properties in this particular place. This was in Shanxi, right?
It is, in Xinzhou.
Xinzhou and Shanxi. And the property development company was like, well, we're not selling these. We're going to have to reduce the prices. So they reduced the price to 5,000 RMB a square meter overnight. And so the people that had already bought properties like a week, a day, a month before, a year before, they suddenly lost a huge amount of money overnight. Like some of them lost 300,000 RMB overnight because now they're charging less.
Yeah, and that's not it's not a fixed thing. Like they will lose more. They still have to lose more.
Yeah, of course, specifically because of interest rates and stuff. So without any boring nonsense, they are, of course, really angry.
When I said this is a microcosm, like this unrest is happening across the country. This happened to get outside the Great Firewall of China.
You constantly see people going to protest because think about it. Imagine you've just spent your entire family's fortune to buy a property, okay, and then you find out the next day that they've reduced the prices, and new home buyers that are buying the same property are paying 300,000 RMB less than what you paid.
If you wake up and see your life savings down the drain, you're gonna crap your jappers.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And the problem is they're now demanding that they get their money back.
You know what I hate though?
What?
Do you know what? Rick said something about this.
What? He said,
wow, that's a little too much for me.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, because he wasn't going to say.
Wow, so good.
Because I thought he was.
Oh, you thought he was going to say that? Anyway, so. So that was just to inject a little bit of realism into what's going on, because you're probably seeing a lot of propaganda about how the economy is doing so well in China. Imagine you're walking in the countryside in China and you come across this lovely stream. It's like, this is coming out of the mountain,
this red water's coming out of the mountain.
It's slough, it's leaking out of the mountain or whatever. It's coming down the mountain. It's like, what is this,
知道这个是什么东西。
Because my friends out there, like, can you tell me what this is?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what it is. There's obviously a factory up there somewhere, bro.
Either that or it's someone slayed a dragon.
Yeah, one of the two.
这个山点上流这个洪水出来。
Yeah, it's not what you want.
It's Earth's time of the month.
It's not Earth's time of the month, bro. It's one of the most cringe, horrible memories that I have because
It's kind of a theme for this show.
what I saw on that camera, it kind of scarred me. And she's doing that, crawling around, doing dude looked like jerky. He was like a really old man. You know what I mean? He just looked like jerky.
And I can actually look back and pinpoint the moments where I became a douchebag. It was the shape of your heart from NSYNC, if my memory
I'm gonna
serves.
puke in my mouth here. It's like, ugh. Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
He said, "Open your mouth." Then he put into his mouth a hot piece of quartz. Then they beat the bride in.
What is the moral of that story?
There is no moral. That's just the story.
When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs. And if my mind